drop a bundle of 25mm grey off the top of your roof rack onto the harbour bridge as you drive across it for the 7th time today. Welcome to Simplified Sparky Marketing. This podcast I've been meaning to do with a while, and it was reiterated to me this evening. I received a comment on one of my Instagram posts, and I like to do a bit of digging when someone does comment, or particularly if it's an electrical business, just to see what they're about, what's going wrong with them, where the holes are in their business. And I spotted a desperately big hole with this business. And that's what today's podcast is going to be about, and it is your location. I think this is blatantly obvious, and this is where I think sometimes I need to wind myself back in and go extremely back to basics, because basics aren't so basic to some people. And I think because I geek out on this stuff and I'm an absolute nerd with it, I look a lot into things. I overly look into things. But what I've been seeing predominantly is people fucking up by not putting their location in their socials, on their websites, and other places as well. And it's such a strange thing to me, because you would think that you should state where you are. People tend to state they're far broader than they actually are, or they just don't put a location. And I'm going to get into why that is such a bad idea. I was checking somebody out on Instagram this evening that had commented on my post, and it was an electrician. So it was a personal profile. And then I went through the profile. They had stated what their electrical business was linked into the personal profile. So I went down a rabbit hole that went onto their electrical business. So landed on their electrical business page on Instagram. Does not state where they are located. So I was like, okay, cool. Wonder where he is. Clicked on the website that was on the profile. Doesn't say anything up the top, which is horrible messaging. I speak a lot about messaging. Messaging is one of the most important, if not the most important thing in marketing. Being very clear what you do, who you serve, where you are, etc. Where you are is missing here vitally. So scroll down the page, and finally I find a part that says About Us, even though the About Us should not be in your front home page. That should be tucked away in the About Us page, because it's got nothing to do with helping someone's problem. I digress. I then see where they are, and it's a suburb that is the same as one in Sydney. And where that person is located is the name of a suburb in the Sutherland Shire in Sydney. So it's like, oh, he's actually not too far away. So then I looked further and it said in Victoria. So I was like, oh, there must be a suburb in Victoria as well called X. My point here is, I am not somebody looking for electrical services. I am just having a little nose at this person's website just to kind of figure them out a bit and just see where they're going. Super quick podcast interruption. Hope you're enjoying it. If you check out the show notes attached to this podcast, there are links to find me directly. If you want to work with me, I work with electrical business owners just like you, improving their electrical businesses. If you want a little bit extra to the podcast, there's also a short email series to improve your simplified Sparky marketing flywheel. Back to the podcast. Wrong in business. But hypothetically, if that's somebody looking for an electrician, people look for that. People look for locality. They look for familiarity, that they want to know somebody that's actually in their area legitimately. That is why I state the service area on my electrical business of the pocket that I'm in. You could state you're in the Sutherland Shire, you could be Northern Beaches, you could be Eastern Suburbs. You have to put something. Don't be a greedy bastard and say I service, for example, all of Sydney. That's where people go drastically wrong, is you actually think that you're losing out on work by saying that you service all of, if you don't say you service all of Sydney, people have it in their heads that they are going to lose out on work because you're not Sydney-wide. Now, the funny thing is, when you say you're in a specific pocket or area, lo and behold, you start getting work in that area. And how good is that? That it's in your locality, it's more efficient with you, it's more efficient with your staff, it's less fuel that you're purchasing. You can then jump from job to job to job, like I do in my electrical business. 15-minute drive, 10-minute drive, 20-minute drive, that everything is all local. And it's more so, if I rewind it back a little bit, it's more so for the person that's looking for your services that you're shooting them in the foot, because if they can't see where you're located, that's a flag with them. To most people, if they're going down a rabbit hole, if they're looking for an electrician, they want to know that you're genuinely in the area. And I know, look, people do the gag of like, we're your local electrician, even though they could be 50 k's away. But if people legitimately see your maps on your website, for example, if you've got your Google Maps or Google Business Profile linked in, and you've got a map on your website, which I do recommend, then that will be obvious to where you are, but that's going to be most likely tucked down the bottom on the majority of websites, and it's what I recommend as well. But you should have your location up the top, because if you don't have your location, even your socials, it's costing you business. So hypothetically, again, let's just talk about the eastern suburbs. Let's say Mrs. Jones is looking for an electrician, or she happens to stumble across a post you did that was informative on Instagram or something similar to that. She clicks on your profile, and let's say Mrs. Jones is in Coogee and your business is in the eastern suburbs and you're located in Randwick in Sydney. She pops onto your page and she's like, oh, holy shit, I'm only 2 suburbs away from this person, this electrical business. I've got electrical work. I'm going to send them a DM. But if Mrs. Jones goes to your page and you've given this really informative video and they click on the page and it doesn't state your location, that one little bit of friction of her going, I wonder where that is, I wonder where he's located, that's going to cost you a lead. So I have seen it I've seen it with so many of you electricians listening to this podcast. I look at all these little things where people are going wrong, and that is one of the biggest things I'm seeing at the moment is people not stating their location. I don't know, is it like a pride thing? If they want to hide it, they service Australia wide. But if you're guilty of this, fucking get onto your developer, go to your Instagram profile immediately and put your location in there. Wiggle it in somewhere, delete some crap that's irrelevant that isn't going to help somebody, because by stating the location where you are is going to make it a lot easier for Mrs. Jones to just briefly have a look at your profile and go, they're just around the corner, they're actually in my area. There's a lot of hype daddy coaches out there telling you to scale, cover more ground, reach more people. I'm telling you the fucking opposite. The simpler you keep things in your electrical business, the more profitable it gets. The smaller your area, the bigger your reputation. So fucking remember that, because the tighter your service area, the fatter your wallet's going to be. Simple as that. You're not missing out on those jobs. If you're going across the city, you're getting stuck in traffic and you're getting a small margin on a job that you're driving hours to get to, wasting money on fuel, etc., staff inefficiencies, while you could have had those 4 jobs on your same street, except you've had your blinkers on and you're just looking Sydney-wide, for example. So pick your patch and plant your flag and go to a developer ASAP, change your Instagram profile. And when you've got those up to date and you've got your locations updated, then I will chat to you next week.